Morning.
Morning.
How's everybody doing? Got my diehards on at 9 a.m. Love it. Claudia, welcome back. Miss seeing you on here. Glad you're here.
Thank you. Happy to be back.
All right. Well, while we wait for people to jump in, let's start with some gratitude. Love to start the day with gratitude. Who or what are you grateful for? Before I call on anybody, let's go for a couple volunteers. Who wants to share?
I'm grateful. I have my first two homes under contract today. Woo woo!
Nice. Good job, buddy. Way to go.
Thank you.
Over there in East Idaho hustling. I like it. All right, who else wants to share?
I'll go. I'm grateful for my dad because when we were up in McCall, my car battery died, and he was very quick to get that handled for me. So love my dad.
Nice. What would you have done without him? Would you have figured it out? You know how to charge a battery?
I probably would have cried first and then figured it out. It would have gotten done.
Got it. Cool. All right. Who else wants to go? Who or what are you grateful for this morning?
I'll jump in real quick. So I sold a house about 6 months ago. Friends of mine built it. So I brought the buyers, double-sided it. 6 months later, the sellers called me up, said, hey, I need to list this house again. They had some business stuff to take care of back in Western Washington. And so we listed it, and we just got it pending in 8 days. The thing is, we're in a small market. This house is like 2.35. It's like top end, highest home ever sold in the valley here. And so
Twice.
twice. So super grateful for great clients, repeat clients, all the things. And it's a house that keeps on giving.
Good job, man. I saw the post, the pending post or whatever, and I'm like, wow. 8 days on market, right?
Yeah, 8 days. And we had multiple people. We might even have some backup offers coming in this week.
Sweet. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
All right. So let's jump into the recap of last Friday. I really liked the conversation. I'm curious if anybody got anything out of it. So we talked about the cost of inaction. And just a reminder of kind of my thoughts on it is number one, when there's inaction, there's this invisible thing that you carry. And what we talked about the day before on Thursday, we talked about a strategy of knowing exactly what to say when someone says, how's the market? And everybody agreed that's a good idea to have that dialed in, to know exactly what to say and have it point towards your filter, which is either listing appointments or buyer appointments. And what the point I made was that if you know you're supposed to do it, you know it will bless your business, and then you don't, you actually carry this invisible guilt. You carry this and it compounds. So what did you guys hear? And then who took that to heart and maybe did some action, took action on something over the weekend?
I actually use the the Murphy's Law, phrasing
Yeah.
with somebody I met at an open house. I ended the conversation with asking or with telling them that my goal was to help 20 families buy or sell a home this year. And I asked if they knew of anybody, and she said, "Oh, I can't really think of anyone right now." And I was like, "Well, maybe I can get your contact info so I can check in with you, because Murphy's Law says that you're the moment you leave, you're going to think of somebody. So how about I give you a call sometime? And
Great. How'd
yeah,
it go?
I got their contact info.
Nice. What's your plan with that?
What was that?
What's your plan with the contact info?
I sent them a text yesterday, and I'm going to check in with them on Wednesday. Just give them a phone call.
I would encourage you, David, referring back to taking action, the database qualifying script. If you haven't done it with them, I would say that should be your next conversation with them. And for everybody on the call, what that is you basically call and check in on them, see how they're doing. And then you end the call with, hey, quick question as it pertains to real estate. When you have a real estate question, do you have a real estate agent that you refer to? And they say yes, they say no. That part doesn't matter. And let's just say they say no. You say, great. Well, hey, you know what? I know I haven't earned the right to your business based on this one conversation, but would it be all right if I stayed in touch with you as it pertains to real estate in the future? And get their permission. It really does ease the conversation. And then now you're not a secret agent. Now when you're calling, they know why you're calling and you have permission to talk to them about real estate. So I think that would plus that if you didn't already do it, David.
All right. I will.
Good job.
Thank you.
Who else wants to share? Who had a light bulb moment from Friday and or took action on something they want to share? Go ahead, Ty.
I'll go. So I wrote down all you said six like reflective questions, and so I journaled today on the what is the one decision I can make today that my future self will thank me for.
Mm.
And it really was focusing on like respecting my calendar because the last couple of days I've got a very challenging deal with a lot of moving parts and it's changing a lot. And I found myself on Friday in my pajamas answering phone calls until like 7 o'clock. I never changed the whole day because I was just in reaction mode the whole day. And so I just thought, starting this week, I have a lot of other things I do. I coach, track, I do, skincare, but this is really my focus. And so just creating a protective layer around the lead gen and just I'm not going to answer my phone. You will not be able to get a hold of me for whatever time that is. And that's the one thing that I know my future self will thank me for. Is protecting my time.
I love it. So you took action on the thinking time questions, which I freaking love. And here's what I'm hearing, Ty, and maybe other people can relate, but you are going to protect the lead gen time. And what can happen, so what can happen is that something will appear as a fire inside of that moment. And then we take the call or we answer the text or whatever the case may be. And I think that's the biggest piece is us reconciling with the fact that nothing's going to burn up in a 2 or 3 hour period. And I think the second piece, Ty, and everybody on this call to think about is that works really well when you set expectations ahead of time. When you tell people, hey, during this time and this time, this is what I'm doing. So I won't answer your call. And I always get back to people within blank amount of time. So you basically reiterate your standard to them that you protect your time. And what I've found as a professional is the more I did that, the more people actually wanted to work with me and the more people respected the time and the standard that I set, because that's what all professionals do. And people want to work with professionals. They don't want to work with someone who's fly by the seat of their pants and everything's a go, mainly because you're less likely to get the outcome that you want. That's awesome. Who else took action? I know there's a couple people. I don't know if you're on here. Let's see if I can find one. Yes. Who took action over the weekend after the Friday conversation. They took action on something we've talked about or taught. JD, do you want to, I'm going to pick on you, man. Do you want to share what happened?
Yes, sir. I actually, while we're on this call right now, I actually just sent over a few more houses to a lady that I did a voice conversation to that I'm going to now be showing houses to this week. It's pretty crazy. Like the qualifying script, like you just said, has really given me the confidence to be able to put people in my database and categorize them to where I actually like feel like my time is being more valuable. Um, and not so scatterbrained with them. So I'm not wasting my time on leads that just aren't going to produce anything with me. And then like when you say take action, I set up a time with Josie tomorrow to script just because I feel like you guys like you keep saying the more times that you do repetition with stuff, you're just going to get better at it. And so I feel like if I keep submersing myself with all of this like real estate lifestyle, I'll say the more success I truthfully keep having.
Yeah, you sent me a screenshot. So you said voice message, but what you actually did, or you sent me the actual video. He took me up on the advice that I've given everybody on this call. At an open house or after a first meeting with someone, one of the best things you can do is follow it up with a video text. Like, hey, it's Brent. Just wanted to follow up. Just as a reminder, we talked about this, this, and this. And I also am going to send you blah, 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 blah. Look for it in your email. It'll be coming over in the next blank.
Yep.
JD did that. And now he's in communication with this person. And they're wanting to buy a house from him. So
Yep. The other thing that I did was when you talked about going and doing a video of somebody else's property, I actually went and did that. And I did it on a house that I didn't know yet, but I actually took that house. That's one of the houses that I took pending. And because of that, I also got another referral client. And then that agent reached out to me and wants me to go do a video today of a house that he has so we can get it some more views also.
I love it. That's
Yep.
awesome. Way to go. And then I got a text from someone else over the weekend who did the same exact thing, did the video text after an open house. And one of the things I, have experienced when I run open houses is you can get ghosted, meaning, it's really hard to get a hold of the person after you collected their contact information. If you haven't done it right, if you haven't collected their contact information right. But one of the best things you can do is send that video text. She did that and she got a reply within about 30 minutes. Full detail, like, oh, all the things she addressed in there, and they committed to following up with her. So the video text guys are magic. If you're not doing them, I highly encourage you do the video text, especially at your open houses, because people are going to multiple open houses. They are meeting multiple agents. They're not going to remember you. They're not going to remember the face to the name. They're not going to remember you. So when you call on Monday or Tuesday, you're just one of the 15 agents they met, or one of the 10 agents they met, or one of the 5 agents they met, however many they went to. When you send the video text, you're the one agent they remember. Sets you apart dramatically. Dan.
Yeah, where's the you did a little script to get them in your database. Is there a script? I think this is the first time I've set in on this. I'm not really sure where we're going or where this is. Is there some place I can go and download that or?
Yeah. So if you go to the Facebook group, in the Facebook group under free resources, it's called the Mayor Campaign.
Okay.
Great question. So the Mayor Campaign is, the whole concept is how do you become the mayor of real estate, right? And you basically have to ask for permission to talk about real estate with the people in your world.
Thanks.
So Mayor Campaign, look that up. All right. Does anybody else want to share, just off the heels of the conversation of the cost of inaction that we had on Friday? All right. Well, let's jump into today. So Monday, we love to kind of unpack some news or something going on nationally. And I was reading an interesting article over the weekend, and it made me start thinking. And so I wanted to share it with you guys. And one of the things I want you guys to think about is, there's different ways to think about news. And we talk about it all the time, like the circle of concern. Like there are just stuff that's going on that really we don't have a lot of control over. We really only have control over how we interact and our mindset and our perspectives and But what I want you guys to think about it, and I thought about this over the weekend as I was reading this article, is, um, you know, I think it's the difference between an average agent and a top producing agent is a top producer. That mindset is when you read news or when you read information, you ask yourself, how can this apply or how does this funnel into how I approach my business? When the news has anything to do with the economy or the market or people buying or selling. And so this news article, the conference board, they recently included supplemental questions in their monthly consumer confidence survey. So the confidence board, they send out a survey regularly to gauge consumer confidence. And they do this to better understand how Americans are changing their spending habits. So the headline reads, 2/3 of Americans say they're cutting back on spending because of higher prices. Now, most of us have heard some headline or some news about that. But what I loved about this article was what they actually discovered. And it's the most common response wasn't, I'm buying cheaper things. It was actually, I'm delaying expensive purchases. So the people they were surveying were saying, I'm delaying expensive purchases, which include homes, cars, appliances, and other similar large purchases. So, what they also pointed out was many respondents said they still expect to make those purchases within the next 6 to 12 months. They were just postponing the purchase, they weren't abandoning it. So, what stands out to you guys on that information? What does that tell you? If you're reading that and you're saying, hey, how does that apply to my business or the perspective I should have in my business? What stands out to you guys?
To me, it means buyers are more sensitive to the condition of a home because they don't want to spend money on those big ticket items.
Ooh, that's interesting. I didn't think of it that way. So what you're saying is if someone is in the market to buy a home, there's a possibility based on this sentiment that they're going to be more interested in a home that needs less work. That's super interesting.
Yep.
And think about that through the lens of, how you could approach that with new construction and builder incentives. You could probably play into that sentiment pretty heavily. That's a good point, David. What else does it make you guys think about besides that? Who's got something for me?
I'll go. I think it's when people read that kind of information, more people might say, I should probably do that too.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So you're thinking through the lens of if I'm a consumer and I read this, it puts the idea in my head that maybe I should postpone as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys think is causing this, causing people to think that they want to postpone large purchases? I know the answers are easy, but what do you think is causing it?
Lack of discretionary income.
Okay. Lack of discretionary income. Go ahead, Bree.
An increase in costs of basically everything.
Yeah. So inflation, lack of discretionary income, basically more of their money is going towards their living expenses. So they have less available money. Job security, media headlines, consumer psychology, economic uncertainty. Like those are the things that come to my mind. So, and do you think housing is any different? Like housing is going to fall into the same category of a large purchase and the sentiment, right? So if housing fits in to people delaying their decision, what does that mean for your business? As a real estate agent, if you know people are going to delay the decision, what does that mean for your business?
I feel like I just need to get better at the conversations because in reality, when you're if you like let's say if the person's a renter, they have less control over what the future looks like versus if they were to own. So I think it's just being better at educating and also continuing to follow up and be a resource because if it's 6 to 12 months is really the true timeline, what's changing for them in 6 to 12 months? What do they think is going to happen in 6 to 12 months? And if that thing does or doesn't happen, how does that impact their current living situation?
That was brilliantly said, Ty. Basically, applying time to their situation and what happens at the end of 12 months if it's still exactly the same. Uh, the other thing that I think about, Ty, as it pertains to what you're saying is if you're um, if you're going to educate people, and I want everybody to hear this, telling is not selling. So if you hear someone, they're like, "Oh, I'm renting," and you're like, "Well, let me tell you all the reasons why renting is a bad idea. Let me tell you all the reasons why renting is going to put you in a worse financial position over time." You will not win in that conversation. You will not help them make a more educated decision. What's another way that we could approach that to help them uh, understand that renting might not be their best option?
Self-discovery.
Self-discovery. Ty, you should be teaching this, man. I love it. So, questions. The best way you can handle someone who needs to make a decision, but they don't quite understand why they should make the decision, is self-discovery. We use questions and I use scenarios. Meaning I'll ask questions in a way that put them into the seat, that put them into the future seat, that put them into the current seat, and I'll ask them questions like, "Hey, if there was another renter," and then I'll tell a story around another renter, and then I'll ask a question about that renter. So, hey, I had another client, they were renting and they were paying blah, 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 and they were able to find a house that was blah, 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 blah. What do you think their decision was? What decision do you think they made in that scenario? Now you're separating them from talking about themselves and you're now getting to talk about a different scenario. And in doing that, self-discovery happens. They're like, wow, that situation's a lot like my situation. So remember that. I think Ty nailed it. Like helping them understand what's going to happen in that timeline. But the best way to do that is through questions and self-discovery. What else does it mean? So if delayed purchasing is a thing, and let's say you have the conversation, Ty, and they're just absolutely going to wait. What else is important in your business? Who's got it for me? Do you guys want me to just give you the answers?
Oh,
Follow up.
follow up.
So here's why I'm pushing into that so hard. That is exactly what I thought about as I read it this weekend is I said, look, delayed purchases, really all that is pent up demand. That's pent up demand. And what pent up demand means is at some point, something is going to cause these people to act. And so two things came to mind. Number one, I need to understand their motivation and their true timeline. And number two, I need to be the one that has the best follow-up process and the most thought out and intentional follow-up process, because if they're having this conversation with me, what's the likelihood that they're having this conversation with somebody else? Do you think it's high or do you think it's low? High. So if they're having it with someone else, who's going to win? This is an IQ test. Who's going to win?
The person who follows up the
Value.
most.
Yeah. So ask yourself the question, guys. Is the follow-up I'm doing the follow-up that better than the follow-up that my competitor is doing? And I would be concerned with that. If you don't have good follow-up, I would be deeply concerned with that, because your competitor, there's a competitor out there that's following up and doing a good job. And if you're hoping that your, couple calls and a couple emails over the next 6 months is going to get you the deal, you're going to be in for a rude awakening when the pent-up demand opens up and all of these delayed purchases start to happen. Like, the people that were intentionally staying in touch, intentionally understood their motivation, intentionally understood their timeline, intentionally understood what was valuable to them and followed up with the value and had manufactured touches that helped them feel invested. Like, the person that does that is going to get their unfair share of when the market opens up. Ty, you got something for me? Did you raise your hand, or you just... No, you're good? All right. So we have a couple more minutes. What are you guys hearing? Who wants to give me your thoughts? Even if you've, like, who has a successful follow-up regimen? Who has a successful system? Who's building a successful system? Who has questions? What do you got for me? Don't be shy.
Well, I'm building mine for sure. I think some of the success I've had with open house, turning open house leads into clients has primarily been due to good follow-up.
Yeah. Who else? What are some other thoughts? I don't know if you know this. I could talk all day, guys, but your thoughts and your insights will help somebody else. So who's got something for me? All right, you guys are going to force me to do it all. I'll do all the heavy lifting. So here's where my thought goes, or where my brain goes. If I were to start over today, so anybody out there listening who hasn't built a follow-up process, I would do two things. Number one, I would master the sales cycle. So if you don't know what the sales cycle is, I would go back to our previous recordings and I would dig into what's called the sales cycle. What the sales cycle is going to do, it's going to help you truly expose the motivation that's driving their decision, and then the thing that's causing them to not make the decision today. So you're going to have a true understanding. And when you have that, then what I would do is I would build a follow-up process strictly designed to create manufactured touches with what I would call my hot leads. Anybody who's looking to buy or sell and have indicated that to me within the next 6 months, I'm going to have a curated follow-up where I give them something of value at a minimum of once a week. And that can come via text, email, or phone. So anybody that says they're going to do something in the next 6 months, and by the way, your guys' job on a call is, when you get off the call, you should know 100% certain what their timeline is, not the timeline they just spouted off, but an investigated timeline, like what's going to happen between now and then, like Ty said, and 100% what's causing them to want to move. And not just, I want a bigger bedroom, but I need a bigger bedroom because my kids are sharing a bedroom and I didn't share a bedroom when I was a child and I don't want them to have to share a bedroom. That's the reason, right? Once you leave the call and you have that, now you can create manufactured touches, curated, and I would do one a week from those 3 points for anybody that indicated they want to do something in the next 6 months. because that will win in the pent-up demand game, like where people are eventually going to pull the trigger. The person who is driving value on a weekly basis is going to win because they're going to feel invested in you and in the relationship, in your relationship, than anybody else around them that they've talked real estate with. All right. So going on to the conversation we had Friday, the cost of inaction, ask yourself, what's the cost if you don't build a legitimate follow-up system and you don't understand the story or the sales cycle? Think about that, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.